Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's no doubt that discrimination is like ever existent on heaps of levels here in Australia still.
Yeah, I agree, but this is Australia. In fact, this is like a global issue. I mean, the history of the world has been all about powerful people, and that's self-ordained power, I might add, exploiting minorities and less powerful people in order to enjoy the luxuries we take for granted, to support our materialistic, gluttonous, and bloody selfish lifestyles.
Yeah, man. I mean, that level of exploitation might not exist like anymore in our communities, but what does exist is an inequality, and that's just the prejudice that each of us holds towards what's different. I mean, it's like we're scared of the other.
Yeah.
Like we have a fear of what's different, to what doesn't conform to popular standards or a certain persona. We should just accept and love, Like,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean, yeah. I have a perfect story about this. Yeah, let me tell you about this one time. About a month ago, I was in the city with a few friends, quite late at night, and this indigenous fellow approached me, asking to borrow my phone. Due to the prejudice I've absorbed from stereotypes in our society, I was really reluctant to hand over such a valuable thing to me. It's funny to call it valuable now, in the big scheme of things, it's really nothing. So I conformed to society's views and didn't give this gentleman a chance, fearing the worst. Looking back at it now, I feel ashamed of my actions and wished I had a more open judgment and wasn't so biased. I feel disappointed in myself.
That's the thing about ethnicity. That's the thing about these divided groups. We're always communicating. The problem is we're always communicating in the wrong ways. And I had absorbed all the wrong kinds of information. I walked into the community of Bloom. It's about 200 kilometers east of Broome. In one hand, I was holding my luggage. You can imagine me, this tiny, scrawny kid, right? I've got my big luggage in one case because I have no idea how much clothes I'll need, not much, right? I'm lugging around this, and then with the other arm, right, I'm holding on to all the prejudice that I didn't even know I had. You see, I bought into a lot of the stereotypes with respect to Indigenous Australians, a lot. I was steeped in a system where that was never challenged. And what fills that up is all that stuff I've been reading in the media, all that stuff I've watched on TV. So what happened is, I'm ashamed to say this, but this is how I felt. I felt threatened. I walked in that community going, there's danger here. I've been told their identity is something I have to be afraid of. So I walk into this community, right? Now just imagine me one hand holding my luggage, the other one holding my prejudice, right? Walking in, really, really nervous and not wanting to share this with anybody else. Because of course I didn't want to seem like an ignorant, racist person. And I wasn't. I was just ignorant. And I walked into that community expecting the worst. And around the corner, this group of little kids, this big, with the chubbiest cheeks you're ever gonna see, would just run up to us, right? And they just launched themselves at us, gave us hugs. I was like, wait a second, you're not conforming to my stereotype here?
Restricted area of Perth. This is our country, but we were restricted from entering Perth. My parents were coming here, courting. Before I was born, they had to only be in Perth, in Warlock country. In their own country, could only be here between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. They were in that area, any Noongars in that area outside those hours, they could well be arrested and charged for being in a restricted area. So there's some things you need to know about this place, about how our place and about how our treatment and how that's affected, past treatment has affected generations of young people.
Who here knows what allophilia is? What is allophilia? It sounds like a blood condition. Anyone else in medicine think it sounds like allophilia? Has anyone heard of it? How about another question? Who knows what the antithesis, the antonym is to the word prejudice? Or racism? What's the opposite? Tolerance? Is that the opposite? About 200 researchers at Harvard who had this same question. You know what they determined? There's no word. There's no word that describes the complete opposite of discrimination and prejudice. There's no word.
By bridging social divides through personal conversation and intercultural understanding, I Am The Other is a student-run organisation which was co-founded by Akram Azimi, Dwayne Burrich, Dylan Collard and Kelsey Forrest. It started with Akram, Dylan and Kelsey over a Rotary Club breakfast. Their current target audience are students of UWA, but they are trying to reach out to working adults and students of other universities in Western Australia. As such, I Am The Other aims to bridge social divides and to inspire young people to accept the culture, aspirations, and perspective of the others. To achieve that goal, I Am The Other have come up with several events. The Spaces Without Separation Lunch is a weekly lunch that creates an opportunity for Indigenous and non-Indigenous students to meet and converse. Other events include the Speak Share, which is a cross-cultural event to promote intercultural understanding. I Am The Other hosts workshops as well, which aims to open students and professionals up to the reality of people who they may feel some prejudice towards. One of such workshops is a cohesion think tank. Lastly, in order to come up with such events and to organize them, I Am The Other holds regular board meetings at the UWA.
We were lucky enough to be invited to I Am The Other's board meeting here at the University Club every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Here we were given a first-hand account into how they plan and operate. After a very friendly welcome, the committee members discussed the worthiness of the cause and their success so far in resolving it. They then planned events and budgets respectively, and contributions from sponsors including Lottery West and Herbert Law Firm. These sponsors give grants by matching proceeds from I Am The Other's events. Having actually been a part of their board meeting, the passion and determination within the group is evidently clear, which I think is a major pillar for the success of any organisation.
It has been such a rewarding experience to be involved with I Am The Other over the past few months and see how they dynamically work and progress towards their goals as a non-for-profit organisation. Being on one of their board meetings and behind the scenes has really given me a perspective on what it takes to run a non-for-profit through its highs and lows. From a simple exchange of an idea between friends over breakfast to what I have experienced today goes to show the positive progress I think that this organisation has undertaken. That said, it's not to say they didn't have any struggle points. In the beginning, there were some difficulties in choosing a target audience and their goals due to each committee member coming from different backgrounds with different opinions. Since then, they have finalised a specific mission and a 5-point approach to completing their mission. From a simple exchange of ideas and information over a board meeting, you can tell that each member is on the same page ideologically, and this is what makes them progress well as a team and why I think they will succeed into the future. Despite some run-ins with not getting enough numbers for the second Speak Share and running late due to technical difficulties with their first ever think tank, it is the fact that they are not helping the Indigenous but giving them a platform on which they can speak for themselves that separates them from the rest and why I think they will last into the future. From interviews of people following the completion of the think tank event, I understood the keen interest in the organisation's importance, the need to break down prejudice and complete their mission from their audience, and this support is what will help them succeed. The fact that the organisation runs around people and people don't need infrastructure is also crucial to their survival against possible funding issues. I Am The Other is important to world futures because a harmonious society is a strong society, and a society where everyone cares for each other and no one is left behind. This reshaping of the foundations can prevent many issues covered by an array of other organisations.
Just imagine.
For the first time, to understand the perspective of the other.
We don't help, we work with and stand beside.
There's no such thing as darkness. It's a lack of light.
There's no such thing as silence, only a lack of sound.
We need to first get rid of prejudice, and then we can learn to love.
There will always be others, but hopefully in the future, the other will be more valued. I am the other.
I am the other.
I'm the other.